Strong and wild, we rise up high. Conquer fears, won't let them reside. Heartbeats pound as we take the dive. Living now feels so alive. Heart steel veins glowing bright. Fitness gone in the dead of night. Fading game, we got the sight. Crushing finance, career out of sight. Man up now, we own it true. Breaking change, just me and you. Success stories everywhere. Living life beyond compare.
What is going on, everybody? Today is going to be a fun topic. Obviously, as you guys probably know by now, I love talking politics, but I like to transcend some of those things for those that may think politics are a little boring or drab or a waste of time, because there are true lessons that we as men can get out of it. And today's revolves around everything that's been crazy going on with the Epstein files. Just to give a refresher for anybody who's not aware, back in 2017, Jeffrey Epstein, he was found to be running a sex trafficking ring, like a pedophile sex trafficking ring, on a private island that a lot of famous celebrities and famous figures would go and visit. And this Epstein's list that they're talking about is the list of those who would be implicated by it. And then in 2019, he apparently killed himself in jail in a way that is physically impossible, almost. I mean, anything is almost possible, but this one seems pretty unlikely. And so then one of the things that Trump ran on his campaign on was that they would finally release the list. Then, as of this week, there's no list. What are you guys talking about? This is absurd. And so I want to talk about that entire series of events and how actions speak louder than words, and how it's important to pay attention to those actions instead of just paying attention to those words. But without further ado, let me bring on my good friend, Kevin. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, man? So just living the news again with Epstein's name. Dude killed himself or died back in 2019, and the shit still seems to be a topic. And quite frankly, I'm tired of it, man. I really don't care. You know, like we were talking about in pre-show yesterday, I don't know what people are thinking that they're going to accomplish by getting this list or the implications, you know, because say Donald Trump shows up on that list. What does that mean? He was on his private jet once. Does that mean he was essaying 16-year-olds? No. Bill Gates was at his island back in 2015. Does that mean he was playing with little boys? No, it doesn't. So I don't really understand why the fascination that not only the American public, but politics as well, is so wrapped up in this guy since he's been dead for almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
That's just my take.
I think what it comes down to is the American people feel lied to, and transparency is important. However, I think in this case, it was pretty obvious it was never going to be released because there are too many people implicated on it, first off, which means it would completely overrun the justice system, and it would take forever to backtrack and actually hold people accountable. And so the American people just want people, the elite, to be held accountable, which I do understand. But when you look at it objectively, that this would be too much for the American justice system to take on. It would cause too many problems. It would honestly probably cripple our nation during that period of time that they're trying to unwind everything. Because you think about that, well, Bill Gates is in that camp as well. Take Bill Gates off the street, you take all these other people, and they all are like, what are we gonna? It's just too massive of a project to do. So everybody should have known from the start that this was never going to happen. It's very important though to pay attention. Those actions speak louder than words. Um, a lot of things during like campaign speeches or whatever, you always want to put your best foot forward. You want to brand yourself the best way possible. And so sometimes you will say more grandiose things than what you're actually going to accomplish. And looking at it objectively, this was never going to happen. And so that's a skill, though, that I've had to teach myself over time because I tend to be where I always grew up being incredibly naive and trusting everybody. And it was only through experience, watching how people actually move, how they act, how they're willing to act, that then gave me the lens to be able to kind of see these things from a bird's eye view.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like you said, it's I guess it was times Trump said on the campaign trail that we're going to release the Epstein files. Pam Bondi has come out. They're on my desk, but then obviously then there's all of a sudden no they're there. But it's things like these that you hear a lot right now. In terms of, is this what you voted for? When it comes to these mass deportations, when it comes to basically doing a lot of things that he was saying he was going to do on the campaign trail. And now that he's doing it, did you vote for this? And a lot of people say yes, some people say no. At the end of the day, how many people said, okay, I'm not going to vote for Harris, I'm going to vote for Trump now because he said he would release the Epstein files? I don't think it's that many.
It's not that many. And dude, that's what they're pushing in media too, which I find hilarious. It's not that many.
Yeah, if any. To say, okay, we want Trump back in office so we can find out what happened on Epstein Island. Everybody knew the guy was a deviant. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That bullshit trial that he had a long, long time ago with what went on with his mansion in Florida, with the young girls giving massages, and sometimes there was some sex involved, and this, that, and the other. He got a sweetheart plea deal from that because he was Jeffrey Epstein, a very prominent billionaire that had a lot of clout, had a lot of good lawyers that got him basically out of that. And then it still continued, from what they say, on his island, and reports of young girls being there, politicians being there, all the way up to Prince Andrew being there, and this kind of stuff. And that's great. That's fine. Whatever. I get it. But it's what we talked about last show I think we did. When I start seeing stuff like this now, especially in politics, okay, if the Epstein files comes out tomorrow and said everybody that was implicated was doing the worst things imaginably, is my life going to change? My life as a man, is it going to change? No, it's not. So that's where I start pulling back from the mainstream media nowadays, because I'm just fucking tired of it.
Yeah.
It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all a bunch of hoopla, distract here. Watch us do this over here. Why we really do this over there. And the older I get, the more I see that. And so now, instead of trying to fight it or let it affect me, I've still got my own purpose to create and my own life to build. So I just choose to not pay attention to it anymore. I really don't care anymore.
Yeah. And I feel the same way, man. And that's what I think is really interesting, is when you start to develop that skill, that social awareness, that's when you can cut through the bullshit pretty easily. Mm-hmm. And the more easier you can do that, the more you just don't care. And it's funny. I had a friend come visit not too long ago, and he had a brain injury way back when, actually right around the same time. I think it was 2015 though, or 2016, 2015. But similar time frame. Just thinking about dates in my head. And with him, he never fully recovered from it. He was in a coma for a few weeks, and it completely changed parts of his personality. And but we've still been best friends ever since. And when he had came last, like, there were many times where he can be really annoying because he doesn't realize it. He doesn't realize when he's doing too much. He's becoming more aware of it, but doesn't always realize. And there's a couple times where I have to yell at him, and I explained to him, understand, dude, that the only reason why I'm yelling at you, the only reason why I'm getting frustrated, and the only reason why I still continue to want to hang out with you is because I care. If I didn't care, I just wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't hang out with you. It's the same type of thing. The opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is indifference. Because we're at the point where it's just like it just doesn't matter to me. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just don't care anymore because it doesn't directly affect or relate to you.
Mm. Yeah, and there's a lot of things going on, with the Russia-Ukraine thing, with the Israel, Gaza, Hamas thing. I remember in my last position, there's a couple of guys there that were really involved in it. This conversation would come up, and it was like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about Russia bombing Ukraine and this? And I was like, you know what? It's not about winners or losers for me. I just want it over. To me, I don't care if Zelensky has to sign over the entire region to Putin. So now it's a Russian territory or vice versa. I don't care. I just want it over with because people are dying.
Yeah.
And that's what I care about. Same with Israel and Hamas. Now I know October 7th, a couple of years ago, was a very, very bad day. Israel was attacked. I get that. But they made it sound like that, babies were getting beheaded, and media really spun it to make it look like Israel, that's the worst thing that ever happened to Jewish people, which no, it wasn't. But now I'm at the point right there now. I don't care about winners or losers anymore. I just want it over. I want peace drawn. I want treaties being abided by. I want people to stop dying. It's not about free Palestine. It's not about I stand with Israel or I stand with Ukraine. I don't stand with any of them because that does not affect my life, for one. But then also, I just want it over. I don't care about winners or losers. I don't care about outcomes. I just want it over with.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's not relevant at all, and people get so riled up at it for no reason. Like, just want peace. Just want to move on. Sorry, there was something I was going to say. I lost my train of thought here.
Well, it's like the same thing they're doing with the dangling the carrot with this Epstein bullshit. Like it's going to change anybody's life to find out who went to his island, who did this. Because that's really, when they say the Epstein list, that's all they have. It's not like they have video of people doing things or all of this kind of stuff. They've got a list of who's been on his private jet, who's been to his house in New York, who's been to his house in New York or Florida, and then who's been to his island. That's all you're going to find out. It's not. It's going to be these videos of Bill Gates running around naked with 12-year-olds, and that's what people have in their mind because they keep dangling this carrot. Oh, the Epstein files. We're going to release them. What? Okay, so what? Some bad things happened. Yeah, you're going to find that out. It happens every day, and believe it or not, it's been happening for decades.
Yeah, it's always existed. And what I want to say on this, and this is the point I was going to make, as advice for men, how to become like a better man and how to better navigate situations like this. This isn't to say that when you look at actions over words, that if somebody slights you a couple times, it's like, oh, okay, hardcore, next, done. Like, it's okay to give people grace, but understand when you're giving too much grace. And that's something that comes with maturity. And it comes with experience. But if you really focus on that and pay attention to what people are doing, not what they're saying, oh my God, dude, that would have saved me so much in life on my growth journey. And hell, like I even think back to at least one of the relationships that I had where her actions were not matching her words at all. And it's because she was preparing the monkey branch. And what do you know? In like 2 months, she's out the door. And I was just like, it was like a whirlwind. I was like, what the heck just happened? Mm-hmm. Even though my gut was telling me something was wrong with the actions, I was only listening to the words. And I think that's so important for men to internalize and start to practice that skill, not just for relationships. Obviously, it's important for that, but your career, being able to navigate the world. And when you get into rooms with people that can be incredibly coercive, manipulative, just very good with the mouthpiece, very high up in the corporate ladder rung. Being able to identify certain things allows you to prepare yourself for situations instead of getting caught with your pants on the ground. And so that's what I think is really important, because here, you're right. This doesn't affect anybody. But for some reason, there's a lot of people that feel like they've had their pants on the ground, and they feel stupid and they feel angry because they tied Trump to the savior to do everything that they want. And it's just like no, it doesn't. It's not. It's illogical, completely illogical.
Mm. Oh yeah, and just expect it from day one. I mean, the dude hasn't been president again for at least a year. He hasn't even been president a year again. And so everybody, you know, that microwave generation, they want everything now. Well, you said you were going to do this, you know. Well, why haven't you done it? Well, it's only been 3 months, guy. You know, you said you were going to do this. Why haven't you done this? Well, it's only been 6 months. You know, I mean, there's some people think that, you know, that the president has more power than he does. And I would say it's men too. You know, this whole, it's a woman trait to want to be in on the gossip. It's a woman trait, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a woman's trait to want to know, be nosy, and know the things going behind the closed doors, like this Epstein crap, that kind of stuff. However, men nowadays are starting to fall into that because it's pushed in our face all the time, especially for the media, because you can't turn on the news anymore and get what's going on in the world. It's always political, especially if you watch Fox, CNN, MSNBC, any of those, you know, and it's always the same shit right in your face. So, I mean, you really have to say as a man, do I need to even partake in watching this anymore? Because how often do I want to go to bed mad at night because I watched this news report and it got me so riled up about politics. And once again, like the politics that don't affect our daily lives still got me riled up, and now I can't sleep, or I have more trouble sleeping. Sometimes you just got to cut that shit out of your life and get back on your path and start creating your purpose. And that's probably the best thing a lot of us could do, is just stop with the binge watching and using the media as part of our brain rot that's really destroying our purpose as men.
Yeah, no, that is such a fantastic point. And that's what I've been finding too. Is like when I get deep into the brain rot, yes, I can get pissed off late at night. 2, I waste a heck of a lot of time. 3, I end up starting to regurgitate some of the things that I hear then. And I don't like that, because it's one thing to watch something comically, like if I were to throw on an episode of Fresh and Fit, I know what I'm doing, and it's going to be a comical session for me. But when you are consistently flooding your brain with the same type of phrases and things and ideas, well, you eventually adopt them. It's how humans work. So that's what I think is so terrible. And I think that's a really good segue here as we kind of wrap up and talk about like what's so important when you like join the community. That like spending your time with guys like in the Men of Now community or any other type of community, spending time with guys talking about like more forward thinking ideas and having that sense of camaraderie is head over heels better than listening to some of the negative stuff that is constantly being pushed out today, alongside sorry, I just did a brain fart again. The negativity being pushed out, and the divisiveness that is kind of pushed out. So if you spend all your time doing that, well, you're naturally going to start adopting that type of behavior, and it's just not going to be beneficial for you. Whereas instead of just wasting that time with that brain rot material, well, why don't you spend that time doing some of the webinars, or spend that time touching base or talking with some of the guys, or doing one of the monthly meetings, or any of those types of sessions. Like those types of stuff is really what gives fulfillment. And that's why, like, God bless getting a part of communities like this, because this is what I did back in COVID when we first got locked down. I would have went crazy without it. Dude, I was watching the dumbest fucking movies. I was running out of movies. Everything was, it was getting bad. It was getting bad over here for us. And being able to then fill that time where, like, every Wednesday, my first group, first class, we would have a 3+ hour long hangout session. And that was great, dude. Like, it would typically go like 3.5 hours. Sometimes we would push past 4. Sometimes it'd be a little bit shorter, but typically around that 3.5 hour range. And we filled our time with that instead of filling our time with watching stupid brain rot content. So
Yeah.
I'd really encourage anybody out there, if you want to hit the link down below to reach out and inquire about potentially joining, we would love to have you. We'll have an initial conversation just to make sure we're a good fit. And if we're not, we can help direct you in the right way, because there's a lot of different communities, a lot of different types of people out there. But spend your time doing stuff like that. It's so much more rewarding, and it can be just as much fun. It's just you have to do a little bit more work up front.
Yeah, well, once you gain the trust in the other members, and you know that if you're sharing issues or you're going through some things that may be hard for you to be vulnerable with other people, but then when you start realizing that the community that you're with, you can trust the people that you're confiding in, and you can trust the advice that they're giving you, that it's coming from a good place. That's special, because you don't get that anymore, man. And you're not going to get that from coworkers. I can tell you that. It's going to be very hard to find a circle as an adult male to build that type of rapport and build that type of trust, because the older you get, the harder it is to make, friends. It really is. But then when you're a part of the community like that once that trust is gained, that, these people aren't going to judge me for the things that I'm going through, because they've probably been through it before and somebody helped them, and now they're here to help me. That kind of thing. That's when you start realizing the benefits that you get from being part of a community.
Absolutely. So with that, we will wrap this up. I think this is a good discussion. Remember, with this, actions always speak louder than words. Like, always pay attention to it. It really is. It's something that will develop regardless of whether you want it to or not, just as you age. But if you do focus on it, it can help you get ahead in life. It can help you control some of your anger or frustration that some people apparently have over this entire Epstein case. But it really is just one of those tools in the tool belt every man must have. So until next time, we'll speak next week. And again, if you guys want to go ahead and join the community, the link is down below. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one.